Hi everyone, I'm Rodrigo Chagas and this is What's Happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country.
Attorney General's office requests the Supreme Court to convict former President Jair Bolsonaro and other 7 defendants for coup attempt and other crimes. The request is the last phase before the trial of the defendants, which will probably take place in September. Attorney General Paulo Gonet stated that Bolsonaro acted as the leader of the criminal organization and was the main articulator and greatest beneficiary of the actions of the coup attempt in Brazil. The creation of Pix, a Brazilian instant payment system, could become another excuse for Donald Trump to impose tariffs against imports of Brazilian products by the United States or even sanctions against Brazil. The electronic payment method was mentioned in a U.S. investigation into alleged unfair trading practices by Brazil against the interests of U.S. companies. The opening of the investigation was announced by the Trump administration on Tuesday. 57% of Brazilians believe that Donald Trump has no right to criticize the prosecution of former President Jair Bolsonaro, accused of coup attempt. The survey was carried out by Quaest Institute and was released on July 16th. It also showed that 79% of population believes that 50% tariffs on Brazilian products Trump announced on July 9 will affect their lives. Another survey carried out by the Quaest Institute showed that the approval rate of Lula's government rose by 3 percentage points after the president's response to tariffs announced by President Trump on Brazilian products. The survey also showed a drop in disapproval of 4 percentage points.
Grassroots movements, trade union federations and other organizations have launched a People's Plebiscite to ask people if they support ending the 6-day work week and taxing the rich to exempt those earning up to $900 from income tax. Brasil de Fato acompanhed the day of voting in Porto Alegre, the capital of Rio Grande do Sul state, and talked to people about the proposals.
The clash between the Brazilian government and Congress over the tax on financial transactions has brought up discussions about who should pay the bill. Several videos have been released on social media questioning why the richest don't also contribute or questioning whether fiscal adjustments should only be made by cutting public services, such as health and education, affecting the poorest. It is in this context that grassroots movements, trade unions, and organizations have launched the People's Plebiscite to ask the Brazilian people if they are in favor of ending the 6-day workweek without reducing salary and taxing the super rich to exempt those who earn up to 5,000 reais, about $900 from income tax. Jussara is retired and Elisângela is self-employed. Both agree with the proposal.
We must tax the rich because they are the ones having advantages so far. They are the ones thriving and the poor are subjugated, humiliated, so to speak. I think that everybody supports it. Those who earn more supports it. We pay more than them. Those who earn 5, 10, 20, 30,000 reais should pay more taxes because right now the poor are the ones paying the bills.
Active workers also support ending the 6-day workweek without reducing salaries.
I'm against the 6-day workweek because I've worked 6-day workweek. So I know that the worker usually doesn't get time off to do things, to sort out his or her life, to really rest. I think that's inhumane.
It's much better because the way it is today is a terrible form of slavery. Some people think it isn't, but it is. If you think about it, we are all in slave labor, but you have to work, right?
The state secretary of the People's Plebiscite in Rio Grande do Sul, Lucas Monteiro explains that there are two ways for the population to vote.
One of them is through physical ballot boxes placed in different parts of cities all over Brazil. More and more people are registering ballot boxes so that we can take part in this vote. So every day on the People's Plebiscite networks, you will find voting locations. And then there is the second option, which is a digital ballot box. The digital ballot box can be accessed through the Plebiscite official website, but people can also receive a QR code in the same way as physical ballot box present the QR code to someone else.
According to Lucas, the organizations encourage people to vote in person as a way of debating with other workers about these issues.
We want people to prioritize voting in person because we want them to talk to each other, debate ideas and why we're against the end of the 6-day work week and in favor of taxing the super rich.
Lucas highlights that the plebiscite works both for unite different progressive sectors and the population for a common agenda to pressure Congress.
We think the plebiscite is fundamental in order to put pressure on Congress, which today is increasingly behaving as an enemy of the people. That's why we've been reinforcing this message along with the process of building the plebiscite. So that's what the plebiscite is for us to talk to each other, unite, and direct our efforts around a project that really sets the agenda for the lives of workers.
Considered the capital of the so-called Junina parties, São Luís in Maranhão State stands out due to the variety of ways to enjoy the festivities, and also for holding them throughout the whole year.
Once the whistle of the Amo do Boi, or Master of Boi in English, sounds, the battalion begins. In Maranhão State, the Festas Juninas, or June festivities, since they are traditionally carried out in June, go past June. The diversity of brincadeiras, as the cultural traditions linked to this period are known, last all year round in the terreiros and communities of the capital São Luís and its neighboring cities. They are in the soul of the people of Maranhão.
This identity and community trait, Bumba Meu Boi, is present in more or less 450 communities in Maranhão. So there are many Bumba Meu Boi groups and communities that live of it all year round. Therefore, talking about São João festivities for me also means thinking about the work that communities do all year round, so that during São João in June they can put popular brincadeiras on the streets. In other words, present them to people, leave the domestic world of the yard and go out into the public. In July, there is an extension of the June period for tourism, in which they continue to perform under contract. But in August, September, and October, the bois start to be slaughtered. Each community, each terreiro, does its own slaughter until the year ends and everything starts again. This is tradition in Maranhão.
Isso é tradição no Maranhão.
Letícia, coordinator of the Caminhos da Boiada project, which maps the popular festivities in Maranhão known just as bois, explains that Bumba Meu Boi is much more than just a festivity.
Bumba Meu Boi acaba sendo esse veículo de expressão popular.
Bumba Meu Boi ends up being this medium of popular expression that speaks of reality and love. It sings of nature, of natural beauty, of disputes between groups, but it also expresses all the desire and problems that people live with. It makes a very strong social critique. That's why it's a cultural complex and not just a festivity.
Uma expressão festiva.
According to the Culture in the Capitals survey, São Luís is the capital of the Junina festivities, as it has the highest number of residents taking part in it, 38%. and where 53% of the population considers São João to be the city's main cultural event. Brincante Adriana Silva takes part in the Boi da Maioba, founded over 120 years ago, and talks about the emotion of living this culture.
It's very beautiful to see the number of young people involved in our culture, our tradition and history, which carries the ancestry of a long time and is still very much alive today. I think that's the charm of Maranhão São João. You come here and you see people of all ages, all kinds of people, and you see that there's nothing that prevents anyone from enjoying São João.
Ou de idade que impede alguém de brincar.
Famous figures, the singers and masters of boys are cheered on wherever they go, while the battalion warms up the drums. João de Saviana is a singer and master of Boi de Pindaré, founded in 1960.
Para nós é uma satisfação mostrar tudo o que nós sabemos fazer.
For us, it is a pleasure to show everything we know during the season. Our season starts with rehearsals and draws everyone's attention because in Maranhão, Bumba Boi is a success. It is with determination that we present our culture, which is highly valued. We present our culture to the public in Maranhão, to those who come from abroad, to foreigners, in the name of St. John, St. Peter, and St. Marshall, who are the flagships for our culture.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. See you next week.